goedendag from the Netherlands. We are here in Zandvoort, directly at the North Sea. It's a beautiful circuit embedded in the dunes and the sun is shining, and this certainly is a very exciting weekend. Here are the highlights. Enjoy.
Thank you, Verena. This weekend's race was originally scheduled to take place in Guangzhou in China. The trip had to be cancelled because the work required to set up a street circuit there proved to be far more complex and time-consuming than originally planned. There was not enough time to switch the event to a permanent circuit elsewhere in China, so the penultimate round of the 2014 DTM season takes place at Zandvoort, the track in the sand dunes. Marco Wittmann celebrated, of course, in the Lausitz Ring, where he sealed the driver's title. Augusto Farfus here was winner at Zandvoort in 2013. And Martin Tomczyk would love to get his season back in order. He won here back in 2007. Christian Vittoris is second in the driver's standings going into this round in the sand dunes. What can he do here? Gary Paffett, three-time winner at Zandvoort. Some fun for him and Robert Wickens just before the start of the race. Pascal Wehrlein took his maiden victory at the Lausitz Ring last time out for DTM. This is Mike Rockenfeller, the outgoing DTM champion, who goes into this round P5 in the Drivers' Championship. Eduardo Mortara being congratulated there by Daniel Schuster from Audi. He's fourth in the driver's standings. And Matthias Ekström, P3 in the driver's standings, a three-time winner here in Holland at the Zandvoort circuit, in conversation there with Wolfgang Ulrich and Dieter Gas. And he's going to take us on a high-speed lap of the Zandvoort circuit right now.
So here we are on the start and finish straight, coming up to turn one. Very hard and late braking into the second gear corner that is banked, and it's very important to keep the car tight in the middle. Up the gears to fourth and a quick short right-hander in third. Very special hairpin left, very long and very important to get a good exit, because now it's going to be flat out for a long time. First right, then a flat left, and now the most spectacular place of the year. A crest and then the fastest corner of the season. Fourth or fifth gear depending on how good you get it in qualifying on the race. Sector 1 line there. Entering another quick right-hander, going up to the first place where overtaking is pretty good. Middle sector again, we come to the my favorite left-hander where you can do good overtakings. Again, important exits in all those corners because the straights are pretty long. Sector line for sector 2 ends here. Again, then hard braking for the chicane right. And then again, a very slippy left-hander, very often with a lot of sand. Coming up to the last corner, it will be third gear. Important is to get a good exit, so we carry the speed through the last corner because the corner is flat. So if this is now the ideal lap, we will soon see.
Thanks, Matthias. So, the old and the new DTM champion are on the front row of the grid. In qualifying for the 9th round of the season at Zandvoort, Mike Rockenfeller and Marco Wittmann secure first and second places. In the hunt for times in the dunes, Rocky just comes out on top. In 2011, he posted the first race win of his DTM career here. This time, the goal is to score the first victory of the season for Audi.
Really happy. I mean, pole position in DTM is always special. It's so close, you know. A lot of guys can be in the front, and we made it today. So it's great for us, a great day. But tomorrow is what counts, and we just need to get that victory.
However, the new champion surely has something to say about that. Marco Wittmann also showed his dominance at Zandvoort. Once again, he's the best placed BMW driver, and once again, he has a great chance of his 5th race win of the season. This consistency is truly impressive. Behind the pair of champions, Audi is setting the pace with 4 drivers in 3rd to 6th place. Eduardo Mortara and Matthias Ekstrom back on course again, on the 2nd row after the hiccup at the Lausitzring. But after qualifying, they're dealt a blow. On Mortara's car, the front wing was set too low and the Italian has to start the race from last place due to this infringement of the rules. Ekstrom is penalised too. The Swede, well, he obstructs Gary Paffett in qualifying and therefore drops 5 places on the grid.
Yeah, it was a little bit stupid situation with Gary. I thought everybody was in an outlap, and suddenly I looked in the mirror 2-3 times and I saw Miguel and the other guys, and then suddenly Gary was there and I was in the way for a short moment.
Audi is making its mark in the battle for the manufacturer's title. Apart from Wittmann, BMW can also hope for good things from Martin Tomczyk. The 2011 champion ends up 6th in qualifying.
I'm quite happy, I have to say. Our plan was just to get into Q3. We managed it, but we had to sacrifice all the new sets of tires in the first 2 qualifying sessions. So I didn't have any new set for the Quali 3, and that's the reason why I'm 8th. So that was for me clear that I will not fighting for the pole today, but at least I managed it to be at the last qualifying session.
So not the best starting grid position, but another good one for Pascal Wehrlein. After pole position at the Lausitzring, the 19-year-old also ends up as the best placed Mercedes-Benz driver in P5 at Zandvoort.
I was P20 in the morning in free practice, and I was struggling with the car, and we improved a lot, so that's good. We are a good team, and we know what we have to do, and yeah, so P7 I think is a big improvement.
Well, Pascal benefiting from the grid drops for others. Mercedes-Benz with a facelifted machine. For the first time, Christian Vittoris is driving a modified AMG C Coupe. Initially, though, the revised aerodynamics package doesn't yield much at Zandvoort. Only P17 on the grid for the man lying 2nd in the drivers' standings at the moment.
It's not as easy as you maybe would expect. It's a lot of work, and we're fighting.
Here's the qualifying result from Zandvoort at a glance. Marco Wittmann interrupts the Audi Armada. The relegation of Mortara and Ekstrom allows Jamie Green and rookie driver Nico Müller to move up to 3rd and 4th place. Wehrlein and Tomczyk start from the 3rd row. Due to the penalty, Ekstrom starts from 8th place. Timo Scheider is a long way off his 5th Zandvoort pole position at the track he considers his favourite circuit. The 2-time DTM champion down in 15th place on the grid. A long way back, we find last year's winner Augusto Farfus and 3 Mercedes-Benz drivers after their good results at the Lausitzring. The upward trend for Daniel Juncadella, Robert Wickens and Vitaly Petrov has come to an end just for the moment. So the battle in the dunes at Zandvoort is on. The battle of the old and also the new champion will provide plenty of action, and the hunt for points in the manufacturer's standings enters its decisive stage.
I'm now here with Marco Wittmann. Marco, you're the DTM champ 2014. Sounds really good. How were the last 14 days for you? And especially, have you realized it already?
Not really. On one side, yes, but still, it's kind of unbelievable. I mean, I think I will realize it really after Hockenheim if the season is done. But actually, it's nice. I still wake up with a smile on my face. And yes, the last 14 days were quite busy. I had a lot of PR and media stuff to do, but it was nice, and yeah, still a good feeling.
Now, most people really do say it's a well-deserved title for you. You fought so hard this season. You won 4 races. I think only one time you didn't actually score points. And then 2 races before the end, you already secured the title. Only one person did that before, and that's Bernd Schneider. What would you say is the secret to your success?
I think first of all to be consistent, especially in this championship with just 10 races. It's important to have as less 0 points as possible, and on the other side I think it was quite important to start always in the front. We made it always in Q3, so had always quite a good starting position, and therefore if you have a good starting position on the grid, you can achieve a good result in the race, and I think this is pretty important.
And now all in all, obviously there are 3 titles. One of them you already got, you're the champion. But for BMW, it would be nice to get the other 2 titles too, to get a kind of hat trick. So does that mean, is that the motto for the rest of the season, to really keep fighting?
Definitely, for sure the motivation is as high as before. We want to try to push as much as we can to get these 2 titles, one to Munich and one to Niederzissen, and that's our goal, to get maximum points out of it and try to achieve these goals.
All right, well, best of luck for the race today. Thank you, Marco.
Thank you.
Lots of fans here to enjoy the DTM race action. And weather conditions, well, they warrant sunglasses, as you can see there. Weather conditions just about perfect here in the Netherlands. And the drivers about to get underway on their drivers' parade. It's part of the spectacle and action here at DTM, where all the race fans are given the opportunity to wave to their favourite drivers as they make their way around the circuit. Okay, let's take a look at some of those on the grid right now. First up, we'll just take a look at some of the grid girls that are supporting various drivers out there on the track. And you can see the grid is a very, very busy place. BMW, Mercedes and Audi, the manufacturers in DTM. So P23 then is for Eduardo Mortara. Final stages of preparations for Edo before he gets into the car. Running on the option tyre. The gamble perhaps from that far back on the grid, we will see. P19 for Augusto Farfus, the Castrol Edge BMW there. He's choosing to run on the Hankook standard tyre at the first stint of this race. With points desperately needed to maintain his position in the Drivers' Championship, Christian Vettoris. It's going to be a big ask for him from P17 on the grid. Christian also running on the standard tyre as we see him in discussions with his race engineer there prior to getting into his car. Let me see Timo Scheider. P15, the grid position for Timo Scheider. Another one that's choosing to run the first stint of the race on the option tyres. The yellow indicator on the name graphic there showing that he's on the option tyre. Bruno Spengler, P14, not where Bruno would like to be, or to have put that BMW bank car. It's not been the season to remember for Bruno Spengler. He'll try and make good, though, here in the sand dunes in Zandvoort. Timo Glock with the familiar all-yellow livery of Deutsche Post, and the colour of his tyres will replicate that because he's choosing to go from P13 in the first stint of this race on the option tyres, as indicated by the yellow graphic there. Timo Glock. And Paul de Resta, well, he starts from P12 in the Mercedes for the former Formula One star. Another one of those drivers that choosing to start the race on the option tyres. Our pole sitter, though, is the 2013 champion, Mike Rockenfeller.
Rocky is already in the car, and I believe it's Rocky's favorite track. You won here once, and twice you were second. Today you're in the best position to aim for another victory.
Well, of course, that's what we are hoping for. We have the best position, like you said. So yeah, it's up to us. I mean, we need to have a good start, good first stint, to make a small gap and then have a good pit stop and hopefully control the race till the end.
And of course it would be wonderful for Audi because it would be the first victory this season, so I guess there's a bit pressure. Last question, you had an upset stomach yesterday. Are you totally fit again today?
Well, I mean, I have been feeling better than today for sure in the past, but the last week was really tough for me and it's getting better slowly, so I just try, to focus in the race and after I can recover more. So right now is not the time to think about that.
Well, I spoke to Mike just prior to going to the grid and he's still feeling poorly, so best wishes for a quick recovery, Mike Rockenfeller, as we see Gary Paffett in his final stages of preparation before climbing into the Euronics Mercedes-Benz. P10 for Gary Paffett. It's not been a brilliant season for Gary either, one to forget for sure, but the UK star driver in the car now. Next in the order, it's Miguel Molina, P9 for Miguel Molina in the Audi. He's going on the standard tyre from P9. As you can see, the black tyre indicator confirming that he is on the standard tyre. Then we will see Matthias Ekstrom, the man that took us on a high-speed lap of this Zandvoort circuit. There he is then. Grid drop, meaning he is starting from P8. Grid penalty for Matthias Ekstrom 4. Balking or holding up Gary Paffett on a hot lap during qualifying. Next up, it's Joey Hand. He will be going from P7. And the Crown Plaza driver, the USA star, choosing to start on the option tyres, as you can see from the yellow indicator that was on the graphic. Next up, Martin Tomczyk then. He's starting from P6. Final preps for Martin Tomczyk then in the car. And then from P5, it's this man, Pascal Wehrlein. Took his maiden win at the Lausitz Ring. Was announced as the official Mercedes-Benz Reserve Formula One driver. Mercedes-Benz must be very pleased with Pascal Wehrlein, and he's the best placed car on the grid for them.
Wolfgang Schattling, now best Mercedes is Pascal Wehrlein, the winner of the Lausitz Ring. As we talked about the weather before, is it going to be sunny skies for Mercedes today? Do you have good hopes for doing well in the race today?
Hopefully yet, but hope is not being in the know. But I guess if Pascal can stay out of trouble, he will be up front together with the leaders, and then we'll see what comes out.
Pascal is really amazing what he did at Lausitz Ring. Where does he take it all from? I mean, the car is obviously really fast, but he also knows how to use the car.
He's a real talent, and we knew it from the beginning. And this year we have given him a car which he could develop on himself. And so you really feel that he gets more and more acquainted to his car, and with his talent he is managing things which we didn't expect before.
Well, credit indeed for Pascal Wehrlein, as now we look at rookie driver Nico Müller, who starts this race from P4. So Nico doing a great job for Audi and runs the option tyres from P4. The Audi lockout continues with Jamie Green, the UK driver, going from P3. Another one choosing, no surprise, to run on the option tyres in the first stint of this race in the sunshine here at Zandvoort. Then we see already champion, 2014 champion Marco Wittmann did enough to take the championship title last time out at the Lausitz Ring, and runs from the front row of the grid from P2 for Marco Wittmann. So the 2014 champion sits on the front row of the grid alongside the 2013 champion. Mike Rockenfeller, who comes here to Zandvoort, not feeling in the best of health with, as we heard from Verena, a stomach upset, but didn't hamper his efforts in qualifying, that's for sure, as he goes from pole position for Mike Rockenfeller. Here's the grid in full for you then, and the front row, as we've just seen, is Mike Rockenfeller, the 2013 champion, and Marco Wittmann, the 2014 champion, P1 and P2. Next up, it's Jamie Green and Nico Müller. Audi lockout there on row 2. Best placed Mercedes is Pascal Wehrlein with Martin Tomczyk. Good qualifying from Martin alongside him. Good qualifying too from Joey Hand, and Matthias Ekstrom suffering from that grid penalty goes back 5 places to P8. Miguel Molina and Gary Paffett. Paffett the man that Ekstrom hampered during qualifying, hence the grid drop. Adrian Tombe and Paul di Resta are on the next row of the grid. Then we see Timo Glock and Bruno Spengler, 2 BMWs together, P13 and P14. Then it's Timo Scheider and Maxime Martin. Maxime, of course, Victor in Moscow. Christian Vittoris, P17, and Antonio Felix da Costa runs from P18. Disappointing qualifying for Augusto Farfus, and so too for Robert Wickens, further back down the order than they would like. Danny Juncadella and Vitaly Petrov, and being pushed all the way to the back of the grid for a technical infringement is Eduardo Mortara from P23. And the tension begins to mount in the garages of Audi. also BMW, and of course Mercedes-Benz. Traction at the start going to be oh so important for Mike Rockenfeller and Marco Wittmann, who can get the better start as the lights go out and we are away and racing. Jamie Green crosses straight to cover the inside line, but it is a drag race between Marco Wittmann and Mike Rockenfeller, and Marco Wittmann has got the legs on Mike Rockenfeller and he takes the lead going into turn one. It's Wittmann from Rockenfeller, from Nico Müller, who is P3. Jamie Green dives up the inside there, being attacked by Martin Tomczyk and loses out. Pascal Wehrlein in the mix as well. So Wittmann, Rockenfeller, Müller, the 1, 2, 3. Going to be very interesting to watch tyre rate and tyre wear here at Zandvoort. There's a mix of old and new tarmac, and of course various places the sand blowing onto the track from the dunes means the cars slide around, and that puts a lot of pressure on the tyres. But Wittmann absolutely flying in the early stint of this race. Before one lap is completed, he's already built up a margin over Mike Rockenfeller. Big lock up there from Eduardo Mortara. This a replay from the start. You can see initially Mike gets away really well, but Marco Wittmann just manages to push his nose up alongside Mike Rockenfeller's car into the first right hand of the Tarzan turn here, and then goes through to take up the lead. Let's see it from a different angle. Jamie Green dives across to protect that inside line. Martin Tomczyk there goes to the outside. Nico Müller too as well. And Müller having superior drive through there. There was delight in the BMW garage and less delight in the Audi garage. Wolfgang Ulrich sort of shaking his head in disbelief at the start not going the way that Mike Rockenfeller would have liked it. You can see here from the back of the grid, Eduardo Mortara dives up the inside of Daniel Juncadella, who we're on board with there, through the Tarzan turn, which is turn 1 here at the Zandvoort circuit. And this from Matthias Ekström, who's tucked in behind Pascal Wehrlein. And already out is Adrien Tombe. So a problem for Tombe and his Audi. He is out of the race already, and that throws a safety car in the very early stages of this DTM race at Zandvoort. The safety car is out already. So can see on board from Timo Scheider car exactly what happened to Adrien Tombe. Just gets out onto the grass, is unable to control it there, becomes nothing other than a passenger, and presumably ends up T-boning the barriers. I think a lot of the speed had been scrubbed off by the time he did get to the barriers. To be fair, sideswiped, and that was it. Let's hear from him now.
I don't think it was so crazy for me. I think everything was running fine, and then I just lost downforce in a quick corner to following too close Gary, and yeah, I ran out of room on the track and put one tire on the grass, and then that was the end.
So one tyre on the grass was all that was needed to put Adrien Tombe out of the race. A very early retirement for him. So Marco Wittmann leads with 7/10 over Mike Rockenfeller, P2. Then it's Nico Müller, Martin Tomczyk, Jamie Green, Pascal Wehrlein, Joey Hand. And Joey Hand under pressure now from Gary Paffett. Paffett in the Mercedes, Hand in the BMW. And right behind Gary Paffett is Timo Scheider. The graphics on the left-hand side of your screen, the names that are blocked in yellow are running on the option tyres, those in black are on the standard tyres. On board with Timo Scheider behind the Mercedes of Gary Paffett. Wittmann leads from Rocky. Rocky taking a couple of tenths out of Wittmann's lead, but that changes now as Wittmann increases it as Paffett is under pressure now from Scheider. So he tries to get past Joey Hand. Scheider's going to do the same, and Paul de Rest are going to follow through as well. So Joey Hand, the big loser there, and he just runs into the side of Paul de Rest briefly. I think Joey Hand just got a wheel onto the grass there, but there is Paffett, who is now P7. His Mercedes stablemate Pascal Wehrlein just ahead of him in P6. Joey Hand right on the back of Paul de Resta. And queuing up behind Joey Hand now is Antonio Felix da Costa as well. So on lap 8 of 44 in this DTM race here at Zandvoort, as we watch this battle with Gary Paffett P7, then it's Timo Scheider P8, then Paul de Resta is P9 with Joey Hand and Antonio Felix da Costa there, as Joey Hand definitely runs a wheel out onto the grass there and loses out to Timo Scheider, and is probably going to lose out to the hard-charging Eduardo Mortara as well. Bear in mind that Eduardo Mortara coming from the very back of the grid. He took that gamble to run the option tyres at the first stint of this race to try and get as far up the order as he could. following that grid penalty that put him right to the back of the pack. And we can see there, that's where Joey, just out on the curb and then onto the grass, and loses momentum, and that's enough for Timo Scheider and also for Eduardo Mortara to take advantage of that situation, and Joey Hand losing out there. Gary Paffett, another one that dips his wheels onto the gravel. That an earlier replay. And here's Timo Scheider on Gary Paffett now in replay into the Tarzan turn. How close do they get? Pretty close, to be honest. And Paul di Resta is off. So a moment for Paul di Resta, which sees him out on the grass. Let's see how it happened here. Well, it's Antonio Felix da Costa up the inside, and that turns Paul di Resta around. We're on board with Timo Glock, who's chasing down Christian Vittoris ahead of him. Christian Vittoris is P15, Timo Glock is P16. Now Glock is on the faster tyre and won't have a problem in terms of getting past Christian Vittoris. I wouldn't have thought. He will have superior grip. Christian Vittoris defending hard and making it difficult for Timo Glock to find a way round. And now Glock dives towards the outside of Christian Vittoris, which becomes the inside for the chicane, and Timo Glock goes through without too much of a problem. We're on board watching Christian Vittoris hard at work inside the car, and this in replay. The yellow banding on the tyre of Timo Glock confirming that he's running on the option tyre and Christian Vittoris on the standard tyre. And Marco Wittmann with a mistake, he locks up, and that is just the opportunity that Mike Rockefeller was looking for, as Rocky now goes through to take up the lead in this race. No doubt about it that the Audis have got better measure of using these option tyres and have got a better setup, and well, Rocky was being held up by Marco Wittmann but needed to find a way past, and now Nico Müller is the one that's behind Marco Wittmann, and he too will try and find a way past. The Audi's definitely working well with the option tyres in the first stint of this race, and as disappointment then as we see Paul di Resta perhaps as a result of that off, having to retire that car. This was the little incident with Antonio Felix da Costa, and that turned him around, and wouldn't have thought there was enough damage there to retire Paul di Resta. Let's hear from him.
What exactly happened? An incident with da Costa, I think?
Yeah, I mean, it was a small incident. I'm not really sure. I think it was a little bit late from his side, but we were struggling quite badly from lap one. Something I think was wrong with the car. That's why we've had to retire. I don't think it was a contact that done it, but at the same point, you know, driving standards are always on the edge, and you know, when you retire for something like that, it's a bit frustrating given where we were. I think we were in a strong position where we could have scored some points, and yeah, another weekend over, and hopefully Hockenheim we can get back on track.
So disappointment for Paul di Resta as in comes Marco Wittmann, off come the option tyres, on go the standard tyres. A quick stop there, 2.6. Martin Tomczyk also in the pits as well, 10th slower at 2.7. Here comes Gary Paffett in the Mercedes-Benz. He's in as well. As Wittmann back out again, so too Gary Paffett. Lap 17 of 44, so notionally the leader of the race, Mike Rockefeller at the moment, who has a 2.6 margin over Müller. And Marco Wittmann getting past Christian Vittoris there with ease. Bruno Spengler is next in the Marco Wittmann target sight. Bruno Spengler won't prove too resistant to Marco Wittmann managing to get past him, I feel sure. Lap 18 of 44 as off goes Augusto Farfus in his Castrol Edge BMW with debris all over the track. That will throw a safety car for sure. So how did Farfus end up there? Let's take a look at a replay, and he is livid. Farfus is absolutely livid. So, contact somewhere along the line. Let's take a look. Well, that shows him flying across the entrance to the chicane. The next car in the order was Danny Juncadella. And that looks like a hit from Danny Juncadella, which sends Farfus over there. Now, this being an old-school track, there's not lots of runoff area, so clatters into the barrier, then clatters across the curbs of the entrance to the chicane. And let's see it from on board. There's the hit. There's the contact. And then pirouetting across the track. And that, the end of the race for Augusto Farfus. There you can see the garage far from happy about that. And the debris being cleared by the hard-working marshals. I suspect Augusto Farfus, as livid as he looks. Let's talk to him now.
I got hit from the back from him, and I think he missed the braking point because the intensity of the hit was very high, and it completely shut me off the track. I mean, it was not a push, it was a hit. And then I hit with a little bit the nose into the wall, into the guardrail, so I just have a little stiff neck, but it's part of the racing. It's a shame.
He went to the left one time, and then I stayed on the right, and then he moved again to the right in the last moment just before the braking, so I had nowhere to go. I was already committed to go for the overtake, and I just couldn't go anywhere. I tried to go left to avoid him, but it was too late, so I just had him on my way, and he lost the car, obviously.
Well, both sides of that story. The restart then after the safety car phase, and Mike Rockenfeller leads from Nico Müller and Jamie Green and Timo Scheider. A 1, 2, 3, 4 for Audi. Before P5 is Antonio Felix da Costa in the BMW. So around the Tarzan turn then, Mike Rockenfeller goes. Those 4 Audis in a row, and Matthias Ekström is behind Antonio Felix da Costa, not quite at half distance. And Eki is the best to show, bear in mind, on the standard tyres, look up to P6. There's confirmation the pit stop window increased to lap 34. So Eki is going to have the benefit then of the option tyres in the second stint of this race, and being up into P6, that's going to put him in a very, very good position. Jamie Green then goes past Nico Müller as Müller locks up. Scheider going to be able to get past him as well. Well, Jamie Green able to take advantage, so too Timo Scheider. No, not quite. So Nico Müller able to save it and lose just one place, although Timo Scheider goes for it now, and Scheider is through. So Nico Müller ends up losing 2 places in that little run off onto the grass. Rocky then with a commanding lead over Jamie Green. And diving up the inside of Timo Glock goes Marco Wittmann. Now, of course, the safety car phases really going to play havoc with the strategies here, and Matthias Ekström is the man really, really on a move as he gets past Nico Müller as well. So Eki is now up to P5. Marco Wittmann chasing hard, as you can see, trying to dive up the inside of Miguel Molina. Wasn't able to make it happen on that occasion. Brilliant shots that were able to bring you the DTM here at Zandvoort. And now Wittmann chooses to dive up the inside, and Molina leaving sufficient gap for Marco Wittmann to tick that car off his overtake list. And Marco Wittmann moves up another place. This is how he did it. Molina runs wide, and Wittmann able to dive up the inside and make that move count. Grave disappointment in the Audi garage there of Miguel Molina. Oh, and off is Nico Müller. Müller into the tyres. Now, what I was saying earlier about this being a old-school circuit with a mix of old and new tarmac and very little runoff area means that if you're on the grass, you're potentially always going to be in trouble. And Nico Müller, and that's going to presumably throw out another safety car. Well, there was contact between Müller and Christian Vittoris, and Müller is in. Let's hear from him.
I somehow got a piece of debris into my front end, and from then on nothing really worked anymore, and I dropped back, and also then the accident with Christian obviously was completely unnecessary. I have to give back a broken car to my team, which is bad.
So yet another safety car phase here at Zandvoort. And now Rocky has Wittmann behind him. Rocky, of course, still on the options. Wittmann, Tomczyk, Mortara, Paffett, Wehrlein, Hand, and Petrov on the standards, with Ekström now on the option tyres as Nico Müller looks very, very despondent. Ekström is going to be the one to watch here on the option tyres in the second stint of this race. Let's go on board as Vitaly Petrov is passed by Matthias Ekström with no problem at all. So it's weather in the remaining 14 laps, although I think the race will go to time because of the safety car phases. We're not going to get all the laps in, so Eki with an awful lot of work to do to get past all those cars. He will have superior grip, though, because of the option tyres. Next in his target sights is this BMW of Joey Hand. And let's see how long it takes him. No further action. The instant between car number 5 And car number 22, we're being told, Nico Müller and Christian Vittoris. So that being put down to a racing incident. So Eki all over the back of Joey Hand's BMW as he tries to find a place to overtake here at Zandvoort. You can see some of the sand just being kicked up. There's a whole gaggle of cars on the mix of options and standard tyres now, all fighting over Ps 10, 11, 12, 13. P10 with Jamie Green at the moment. Mike Rockefeller leads from Marco Wittmann. The man on the move, though, is Matthias Ekström, who's got past Joey Hand. Next it will be Pascal Wehrlein. And there is Eki in the Audi then. And here, oh, Mike Rockefeller and Marco Wittmann very much getting together there. Rocky able to hold on to the lead. You can see Martin Tomczyk there ready to pounce if these two should come to blows. It's the 2013 and 2014 champion having a real fight at the front here. So Rocky crosses the timing line and Martin Tomczyk is right alongside Marco Wittmann. Oh, as out goes Molina. So yet another car out of this race. We've already seen Müller, Farfus, De Resta and Tombe out as Matthias Ekström continues his charge and gets past Gary Paffett. Next up it'll be Mortara and Tomczyk. And now already on the back of Tomczyk is Matthias Ekström. His fight to be at the front is within sight now. Car number 1 under investigation for inaccurate DRS activation as at last Mike Rockefeller comes in for his mandatory pit stop. So a number of cars under investigation for inaccurate DRS activation as Matthias Ekström gets past Martin Tomczyk. Eki now is P2. As the standard tyres go on to the Rocky car, everyone's strategy thrown into disarray because of the number of safety cars that we've had here. And this is the fight for the lead. Matthias Ekström choosing to run the option tyres in the second stint of the race. Well, that has paid dividends, particularly with the safety car phases as well. And this battle is for the lead between the champion for 2014, Marco Wittmann, and Matthias Ekström. The superior grip into the chicane. Matthias Ekström takes the lead of this race at Zandvoort. Delight there from Hans-Jürgen Abt, looking on from the pit perch. Let's see it again in replay. And that's where Matthias Ekström first set up this overtake move, just able to keep his car sufficiently alongside Marco Wittmann. He has superior traction. The Audi working so well here at Zandvoort, and then through into the first right hand of the chicane. Matthias Ekström takes the lead of the race. This was the first stage of that overtake where he sets it up and stays right alongside Wittmann. We go to the onboard cameras, which give us even greater views of how Matthias Ekström managed to do that and put smiles on the faces of the garage that support him. Absolutely brilliant overtake from Matthias Ekström. Of course, no delight in the BMW garage of Marco Wittmann's BMW team RMG. Disappointed that the lead has been lost. But look at this. Eki already with 2.1 seconds margin over P2. Marco Wittmann. P3 is Martin Tomczyk. As out goes Gary Paffett. Side swipes the barriers. So that is Gary Paffett now. If he can keep the momentum on, maybe he'll be able to drag that car out of the gravel. I think it's probably in there too far. Let's see it from onboard Timo Scheider. So he just dips a wheel onto the grass, and that's enough at high speed to take Gary into the barriers. Great shame to see Gary Paffett presumably out of the race. And that was quite an impact to the side there of the Mercedes. And there you can see he keeps the power on to try and drag it through the gravel. And from our up high shot, clatters across that grass. Impact with the barrier and then into the gravel. So the fans looking on, what a dramatic race they've seen as regrettably we do see Gary Paffett retire from the race, but thankfully he's out of the car and he's all okay. So great shame for Gary Paffett. It did provoke yet another safety car. There's 4 in the race altogether. Matthias Ekström, the race leader from Marco Wittmann P2 and Martin Tomczyk P3. So the lap counter at the top of your screen will change to time because we're definitely going to run to time now. Looking back at Christian Vittoris at the moment from on board. This is how close the DTM cars get here at Zandvoort. So Christian Vettoris with Pascal Wehrlein ahead, and Vettoris goes past Wehrlein without too much problem at all. So Vettoris now into P5, and Vettoris presumably able to sniff the opportunity of a podium here. Jamie Green just getting together there with Bruno Spengler, and that sees Jamie Green turned around. Two BMWs together. We're on the last lap now, as time has beaten the lap counter due to all those safety car interventions. And it's going to be, barring any problems, Matthias Ekström that is going to take this. Diving up inside Daniel Juncadella goes Bruno Spengler. So Eki from Wittmann, from Tomczyk, from Mortara and Vettoris. Maxime Martin and Pascal Wehrlein. Wehrlein on the standard rubber. Maxime Martin that we can see here, the front of his car. He's on the option tyres as Wehrlein gets out. You just heard the increase in revs as he dipped a wheel onto the grass. That surely will be enough for Maxime Martin to come past and take P6. Bruno Spengler right behind Wehrlein now, and Maxime Martin has got the job done, so he moves up another place. And that was aided by Pascal Wehrlein just dipping a wheel onto the grass. So Martin on the faster option tyre, but this man also on the option tyre is going to take the win here at Zandvoort. Matthias Ekström, who has driven like a demon in the closing stages of this race to get past all those cars, aided of course by the superior grip of the option tyre. As out goes Molina to add to the retirements. But let's celebrate this victory. It's the first of the season for Audi, and Matthias Ekström takes the checkered flag, locks the car up on the pit wall, actually virtually brings it to a stop. Here comes Marco Wittmann, who will do well to avoid it. Ended up some 7.5 seconds behind Matthias Ekström, and Martin Tomczyk at last is back on the podium with a remarkable drive from Edo Mortara to take P4. Hans-Jürgen Abt is absolutely delighted. I bet so too is Dieter Gas.
Dieter Gas, I mean, just before the end of the season, finally Audi's first victory. How happy are you about that? And first of all, Eki really was on fire. Did you think about that this morning, that he could have really won this race?
Well, somehow it was one of the possibilities, really, because he was the first car on the grid on standard tires. We know there's a risk for safety cars here in Zandvoort, which is reasonably high. So for a situation as it occurred, he was definitely in a good position. But I need to say, yes, I'm happy, obviously, with the victory. Very happy, relieved somehow. But if I look at the race and the decisions that are taken, I must say, I don't understand, really. I mean, Nico Müller is in the fast corner. A Mercedes driver goes on his edge, pushes him off, and there is no further action. I don't understand these things, and I really think we need to follow up. If not, we're going to do autocross or something like that.
Okay, now you also talked about the safety cars, and I guess exactly these safety cars also ruined the race of Rocky.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, we were with one, close to 2 cars in the front, yeah, with Mike and Nico Müller, by the way, yes. And then the safety car that messed up our whole normal race strategy. Luckily, we had another car on standard tires which could gain from it, yes.
Well, Audi covered all the options. Dieter Gas obviously happy with the win, but not so happy with some driving standards. Matthias Ekström takes the win from Marco Wittmann and Martin Tomczyk, P2 and P3. Then it's Mortara, Vettoris, Martin, Wehrlein. And here, look, you can see the whole list of retirements. Molina, Paffett, Müller, Farfus, De Resta and Tombe. We lost all of those in a race punctuated by 4 safety car periods. So the podium then, and Matthias Ekström. It's been a while since he's been on the top step of the podium and is enjoying every moment of that right now, and deservedly so. Long-awaited first win for Audi. Marco Wittmann, where his consistency continues as he takes P2. And of course, they seal the team's championship as well. It's just the manufacturer's championship to fight for now as we head to Hockenheim. And Martin Tomczyk, great to see him back on the podium as well. Let's hear from the race winner, though.
First victory in a long time, and especially the first victory for Audi. But remember, this morning we had breakfast and I asked you if you could do some magic, because this morning you started in P8. You certainly did magic, didn't you? Congratulations to your victory.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice to win races. I think the bad luck I had the last 16 months, we had a little bit of luck on our side today. Still, the car was very good. I have to say it was enjoyable to drive and nice for Audi to get the win in then. Everybody are working hard as always in sport, but once you are on the top of the podium, it's a different feeling.
Let's take a look at the Drivers' Championship. Well, Marco Wittmann ain't going to be moved from the top step, but Matthias Ekström on 81 points now, Christian Vitouris on 69, and Eduardo Mortara on 68 points as we head to Hockenheim for the final round of DTM for 2014. Let's hear from Marco Wittmann now. Another good performance from him.
Congratulations, second place. You were fighting so hard. In the end, it's only second place because in the beginning we all thought you were going to make the race. When was the point when you thought, maybe I'm not going to win this race?
Actually, I'm really happy with P2. I mean, it was a tough race with all the safety car phases. So for me, it was clear if you start on options and so many safety car phases, it's nearly impossible really to win the race. So that's why I'm actually happy with P2. I thought maybe some more option runners will pass us. So finally, it was only Matthias, and at the end, it was a good result and quite tricky race, I have to say.
Let's take a look at the teams' standings then. RMG 2014 teams champion because on 193 points they cannot be caught now by Audi Team Abt Sportsline or indeed Audi Sport Team Abt on 109 and 104 points respectively. P3 then went the way of this man, and you can hear how pleased the team were about this for Martin Tomczyk. Long time since he's been on the podium, let's hear from him.
Congratulations, that was a tough race. Third place that was, but it was tough, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was tough. First of all, I have the taste of the champagne. It was 2 years ago where I had it last time, so I really enjoyed it at the moment. But yes, the race was tough. Unfortunately, we had 4 safety car. For Matthias, it was the key to win today, but for us, it was not really playing in our strategy. But nevertheless, the car was good in the pace, and Marco and myself, we could finish on the podium. So. Especially for me, it's a really satisfaction.
Well, safety cars and strategies not going the way of Mike Rockenfeller today. Let's hear from him now.
Well, with the performance, I'm really happy. We were on pole. I didn't do a good start, so I lost one position. Then I gained it back on track, and then I could pull away and control the race. And then, and then the safety cars come out, and basically you lose everything. So I'm just disappointed about the rules, but it's nothing new. I mean, this is since the beginning of the year, and somebody had to be the idiot, and that's me today.
Well, that certainly was a very intense race here in Zandvoort. Norbert Haug, I mean, even though the champion title obviously is already given to Marco Wittmann, and only one more title is open, that is the manufacturer title, which will then be decided in Hockenheim, it was intense today, wasn't it?
It was, absolutely. I mean, it was, you couldn't count the safety car periods. I mean, I'm a very long time in racing, but I think 4 times in one race sounds like a record. I mean, I'm not sure whether I like it, but I mean, it was a little bit of a roulette, but a well-deserved winner at the end of the day.
Absolutely, and I'm sure Hockenheim is going to be thrilling as well. So we'll see you there in 3 weeks.